Hello YouTube viewers, welcome to my channel Science to Technology. In today's show, Rocket Monday, we're going to talk about Space Launch System or SLS future. So let's dive right into it. Now this puppy finally actually managed to launch, as in like actually go somewhere. So that happened on 16 November 2022. Universal time was 6:47. Local time was around 2 p.m. So absolute darkness. Now, total duration of this mission is very long. It is from November 16 to December 11, around 25 days. So this puppy is long. Now you were like, why the heck it's that long? Well, that's the best way to test radiation. Now, this is one thing you have to understand. Many times you were like, why the heck SLS is testing radiation when we have data from Apollo? Apollo was a war project. Of course, it does not say that it's a war project. It was a war project. So there was a lot of leeway in Apollo's day. Apollo, they were like, dude, get it done. Like there was no, oh, this, it does not, like get it done. That's the first priority. Everything else comes after that. Get it done. So now we do not have that luxury. So everything has to be double, triple, quadruple, multiple layers of jet. So reality is, SLS has to have multiple more layers of security redundancy before they put people and first woman on the moon. So this puppy was the biggest solid active booster in use. There could be some boosters in some ICBMs that could actually rival this, but there is a very good chance it will only able to rival one of that. It has two of these puppies, so it was bright AF. Now, why the heck it was bright? Well, here's the deal. Solid rocket, when they burn, the burn has a lot of particle in it and large particles compared to, let's say, the core booster that's giving out water vapor. So it does not have enough mass, enough, as no, mass won't be correct now, enough surface area to glow, basically to emit, because of the particles heating up to that point. So this puppy, that's why like you do not even see where the heck the core booster is there. You only the solid booster, and because these boosters are 20% more oomph than the basically space shuttle, and not to mention also has more segment, and because they are designed in such a way that are giving more jolt. They are not designed in such a way that it's like they're supposed to save themselves. Space shuttle era, those solid boosters were reused, but again people realized, doing the math, it was wasteful to reuse. It was just wasting money from a cost point of view. Some engineers do say that I will take off reuse the system from a safety point of view, especially with solid booster, is far more desirable compared to rebuilding everything. So again, complicated issue. For cost wise, it did not make sense. That's why in this, they go and they detach, they go into ocean, nobody recovers them. Same with boosters, core fuel tank. And this made night into day for a few minutes, because that's how bright this was. Now you have to understand, human eye is the only way you can have truly have experienced it, because you have to camera adjust everything to see us. Our monitors adjust everything so we can see it. So we do not actually get it. And like you are seeing, oh, the background areas are being lit. You have to understand, those are hundreds of hundreds of hectares that are being lit by now. So that is a impressive feat. So this puppy was bright. So SLS launch happened. Then you have to understand, this puppy was delayed, like seriously delayed. Now, the biggest danger of this delay was this almost came close to scrapping, because this is not a reusable rocket. So inherently, all components are focused on power, as in like get as much oomph out of it as possible rather than last as long as possible. Like it's the same as F1 engine compared to basically the engines that you put in a normal car. Normal car engines are far more robust. They do not have as much power, but they are robust, meaning you have a little bit less oil, the engine is like, I got you fam. Overheating, I got you fam. Underheating, I got you fam. Dirty fuel, I got you fam. F1, you put like it requires pre-warming before you start that puppy up. So these things, basically use and throw rockets are like that. F1 engines, you just throw them away. So they have very thin margins. Benefit, they get a lot of performance. Consequence, they are fragile AF. Meaning this puppy was at a point where contractor built the tank and they're like, okay bro, this tank is good, this is solid. Here's the, do not fuel, basically tank and detank the puppy more than few times. Basically it's designed in such a way that you fuel it up, test it, then detank it. Detank it at that point in time, it will be automatically detanked. You put it in a launch pad, you launch it. If weather anomaly happens, you have to scrap the launch 1 or 2 times. That's it. It's not designed what what was happening to SLS, where it's like going away from the building, coming into the building, launching, failing, trying to launch it, failing it again, doing green run again. Like the tank was not designed for that. So it almost reached a point where everybody was seriously considering, do we have to scrap it? Because at that point in time, contractors were like, dude, you reached the red line. Like if this was a manned project, of course they will have cancelled it, but like you get that point. Like it was very close to like final detanking. If we had to detank again, it's unsafe. So many things had to be extended. I'm just talking about the core tank. There was also range safety equipment, basically boom charges that will go boom if a rocket deviates from the safe corridor. So those things have battery. Now again, be mindful, they use best of the best and battery have huge lifespan. But they are designed in such a way that if contractor says that this is safe device, it has to be under absolute circumstances. So the window of operation is limited. So let's say 18 months or something like that. If you have to push beyond it, again, in principle, it will work. It should work. The quality of the material used, the caliber of the hardware used is high enough that it will work. It will work even 1 year after that. But again, it's unsafe zone. So fundamentally, they had to extend that. Again, it would never be done for human system, or I hope it should not be done for human system, but they had to do it. So it was very seriously delayed. So many issues with tower and the rocket, and that's the final problem, because you would have seen rocket is there, it's working. It's like more or less working. Okay, some minor software, this and that. But the biggest issue was happening when coupling was not working. Why the heck coupling was not working? Because nobody knows who made the tower. I'll explain that further. And rocket was again made by Boeing, which is a rot company at this point in time. I'll explain that further. So at this point in time, it literally put whole Artemis into risk. Meaning SLS was so bad that Artemis was supposed to be cancelled because of that. And I'm genuinely serious at this point in time that Congress might actually still cancel it unless Starship takes its place. So failing to meet every single milestone. Yeah, this is very good, awesome. Like you are actually in orbit. Actually, things are working. But here's the deal: this should have happened years ago. Years ago. Like try to Google original launch date of SLS. You will be freaked out. That's why I'm not saying it here. You will freak out. When was the actual, when the SLS was penned, is like Obama's administration is like make SLS. What was the time that NASA provided? Again, 1 or 2 years, good. 10, 15 years is like, bro, what the hell are you smoking? So delay is brutal on this puppy. Now, we come to the damage aspect. There's a very good chance that by the time you are actually watching the video, more information have come to the surface, but reality was that launcher 1 is damaged. Now, be mindful, NASA has flat out said there has been damage to it. And that's why they are using ITAR and they are saying like, please do not take high resolution. That's okay, but you have to understand that whenever you are launching solid boosters, not liquid one, solid booster, because of the particle is so big and so heavy and so hot, it does destroy these things. It's a common thing. Like you literally will have less damage if you are using a liquid system compared to a solid booster. Now, we know how to deal with solid booster, even almost to this class because space shuttle. But here's the deal. Damage in places where it's not a critical system, it's like, okay, minor, that will call cosmetic damage. Things happen, no problem. Structural damage, that's like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Whoa. Now, this puppy, yes, it's a solid booster. That itself makes it dangerous. It's 20% more fish. Yeah, that will cause more damage. But here's the deal. Did it damage the structural system or did it damage the cosmetic part? That part is unknown while I'm making this video. And there's a very good chance it has actually damaged things that should not be damaged. Be mindful. This thing is like a hot potato thing. So they design in such a way that like, bro, this will take the brunt of the impact of the rocket exhaust plume, but it should survive. But if it's not surviving, that's like somebody messed up the calculation or somebody messed up the tower itself. So that is a bad thing. Now here's the nobody at this point in time knows what exactly broke, where it broke, but hopefully that more information will come out in the future. Thankfully, there is enough gap between Artemis 1 and 2. Basically, Artemis 1 happened, Artemis 2 will happen, that this can be repaired or refurbished without too much issue. However, this is guaranteed to increase the cost, and at this point in time, SLS is flat out unsustainable. There is no way in hell SLS can be launched again and again and again. Like flat out, nope. SLS already reached the nope territory. It's just a one president change or something like that where it's like, nope, let's just scrap it. Because here's the deal, you cannot sell to the public where it's like, we are burning billions and billions and billions of dollars just to get nothing out of it. So there is a limit to that. And not to mention, this has to be thrown away, the tower I'm talking about, because tower is what we call ML1. They have to build ML2 because ML2 will be the one that will be able to carry SLS bigger brother. Basically, the upper stage will be modified. SLS block 1B to block 2. Final iteration will be true. So they need to redo this tower, and not to mention these umbilicals, you see, the positioning will change and they will change drastically. So it has to be redone completely. So ML2 is completely different thing, idiotically behind schedule, and budget, let's not even talk about it. Like this is a mess, like a really bad mess. This was designed for Constellation project and it actually launched. Like this was not like, oh, they just built it and then scrapped it. No, this puppy was actually launched one Constellation rocket, but mess. It's just a mess. The cost is going to be stupid. So what about the Artemis, the actual mission? Well, Artemis 2 will be the same as Artemis 1, but it will carry crew and it will do lunar flyby. They will not try to land on the moon. It will be like testing everything with human inside, and they will have full trust of the system. Where it's like, okay, we can figure out the radiation, we can figure out the G loading, we can figure out the food, fuel, toilet situation, all of that we can figure it out, and then they're gonna extend the system to land on the system. Aim is May 2024. How much money you want to bet that's not gonna happen? Now that's supposed to be on block 1 system. Block 1B should be after that. Now what will happen in Artemis 3 and 4? Again, they are up in the air. At this point in time, NASA's guidelines is just that. Guidelines. It's not like this is exactly what we're gonna do. So things are very unclear specifically with the aim. What exactly do you want to do? Because right now, the way NASA is approaching is like they don't even know what puppy they're supposed to do first. Do they supposed to land on moon first? Is that their main goal? Or do they supposed to build lunar gateway first? Is that the goal? Is like which supposed to take priority? Lunar gateway, because it has deal. You may think, oh, we can do two. No, you can't. The SLS is too idiotically expensive to afford even one of that. You can't definitely do two. So you have to figure out which is the absolute priority. And the current way they are approaching is like landing on the moon is higher priority. Kind of makes sense because many people have calculated that lunar gateway is just stupidity. It's just raw stupidity. So SpaceX got a recent booster, so to say, of $1.15 billion, and that they are contracted again for making second crewed Starship that's for lunar lander. Meaning there was one already done that was around roughly $2.9 billion. Now grand total is around more than $4 billion. Now why SpaceX is getting this money? Again, there was a clause in the contract that for the second mission, NASA could choose whatever the public they want to do. Now NASA was kind of afraid. They did not want to just choose SpaceX. They do want multiple options, but there is no other option that can be relied upon. Boeing just went cocaine. Then we have Blue Origin, again way too behind schedule. So practically speaking, SpaceX is the only one that can actually even attempt to deliver by 2028. That's the only feasible option where it's like maybe we can do it. Everybody else is like, bro, by 2035 if you are lucky. So reality is like NASA slowly knows this, and more enough people are realizing that at some point SLS has to be retired, and all the corrupt senators, they are like, I want money that I'm getting on my pocket. Here's the deal. They cannot say that in Congress. They cannot be like, yeah, I want to save SLS. It's like people ask, like judge will ask. It's like, why? It's like, so I can get paid by Boeing. It's like, no, sir. It's like, here's the deal. Delay after a point becomes unforgivable. At that point, it's like, bro, this is supposed to be launched last year. This year, okay. They're supposed to be launched 10 years ago. Supposed to cost $1 billion. It has cost $15 billion. At that point in time, it's like, no. Only military projects can go that far. Even they get cancelled. Like, that's why B-2 bomber, there is only few of them. There's supposed to be hundreds of them, but it was too over expensive. Like, military projects gets cancelled. So you cannot be like, oh, SLS will just work. There's a point. Even NASA will be like, bro, no. So Artemis, well, just hope that this puppy works properly, because SLS is not going to work. It's just too expensive. So what we can expect in the future? Well, reality is NASA has to do better in all front. And at this point in time, people are no longer blaming the contractor. They are blaming NASA, because as is Office of Inspector General, they are saying that NASA messed up. Like, there is a one point of like, oh, I give you money, you fail to deliver on time, I give money to someone else. What NASA is doing, I give you money, you fail to deliver on time, I'll give you more money. You still fail to deliver, I'll give you more bonus. You still fail, here's 100 times more money. It's like, what the hell? And this has happened. And accountability is flat out zero. Because here's the deal. I said the tower is a bad thing. The tower was from Constellation. The tower was supposed to be upgraded for the big bad boy of SLS. Okay, no problem. It's a common thing. It has been done. Crawler has been upgraded time and time again. It's a common thing. The budgeting for that was around $15 million. It's like, expensive puppy, but okay. It costed $1 billion. What? 50 to 900 plus. How the heck that happened? No accountability. Like, here's the deal. NASA literally hired contractors that do not know how to build something that giant. Like, they did not hire the right contractor for it. How the heck that happened? And here's the deal. When $50 million was assigned, it was like, okay, the $50 million, get it done. The moment a price started to cross $100 million, they should have stopped it. They should have done the audit. They should have been like, okay, let's sort it out. Let's figure out who is gonna. They kept giving money. Take money. Take money. It's like, what the hell? What the hell? Like, here's the deal. If this was happening under two corporations, here's the deal. They will go to jail. You cannot do this. Like, flat out, no. You cannot do this. Whereas, like, this is a tower. I'm not even talking about rocket. It's a damn tower. And you are saying that a tower that you budgeted 50 million, again, we know butter masala and all that jazz, is supposed to be 100 million, not 1 billion. Like, what? That happened. And third party accountability is lol. at this point in time. Like Boeing is like, we're going to build a rocket for you. NASA is like, good, awesome. You have good history, good lineage. We're going to give you money. It's like, awesome. Where is your rocket? No, we have not built it. When you going to deliver it? No, we're not going to deliver. You're going to keep paying us. Okay, here's money. When you going to pay? We're going to give you more money. When you're going to pay? More money. That's not how contracts work. That's literally, if any other company have done this, who does not have that much political power, flat out they would have been put behind bars, flat out. Not even like, oh, this is, no. You behind bars, sir. You're never gonna see free sunlight again. But that happened, like zero accountability. And the Boeing has rotten. Boeing was a company that was people were like, damn, I work in Boeing. They're like, Boeing was the important milestone in Saturn V. How the heck a company that went from that to garbage today? Well, apparently, they were smoking too much, and they decided to buy a competitor. Awesome. McDonald's, they are saying, when they wanted to buy it, here's the, that's a good company. But again, they were not doing financially well, and they failed to capitalize the market of commercial aviation. Okay, no problem. But here's the deal, they had good engineers, they had good factories. Instead of getting that, they hired literally their whole upper management, who was the core reason why the company collapsed. And that corrupted rot, literally came into Boeing and literally rotted the Boeing complete extent. Where it's like hilarious. Like, dude, how the heck Boeing like company went from making a plane that flies like, and you do not doubt it, to I hope this plane does not crash. And it has actually crashed, and it has killed more than 300 people. Here's the deal, if Boeing did not have legacy, this would have collapsed to Boeing. The only reason Boeing is alive is because of the legacy, and their subcontracting is so goddamn bad. A Boeing should not be, should not need subcontracting to that extent, where they're like, we are subcontracting the software, and if the software is so bad, it's like, you put this software to a NASA rocket. What were you smoking? Because literally they hired the worst part of a company and they replaced the one. And there is some people saying there must be inside trading, because there's Boeing will not survive. Flat out, Boeing will not survive. Not their stock. There is nothing in Boeing that is long-term stable. Nothing. Like, you supposed to make a manned craft for, basically NASA. That's supposed to bitch slap SpaceX. You got bitch slapped by SpaceX. You're supposed to build giant rocket on cost, on time. You failed it. You're supposed to build awesome planes. You failed it. You're supposed to build many military contracts that they have failed. And be mindful, military people, military has really big one. Like really big one, and you really do not want to piss them off, and Boeing is pissing them off. So there is nothing in Boeing's portfolio at this point in time that is stable in the long term, meaning, yeah, they will survive for next 25 years, but after that, good luck. And all these people who have rotted the company, they're like, I'm gonna take billions of dollars and F the employees. So a rot like Boeing should not be anywhere near NASA. They're like, NASA is like, no, you do not come close to it. And that's the fact. Like the tower, can you imagine like you messing up the tower that badly, where it's like, yeah, 50 million. And again, if they took too much money, no problem. If they delivered on time, they are behind schedule by so much, it's not even funny. They're behind schedule by almost 5 years. And be mindful, the Mark II that's supposed to be like for the different block variant, block 1B and block 2, that's not ready. So flat out. And at the end of the day, this Artemis sort of approach, Apollo sort of approach cannot go in the future. We cannot build large rockets and send it to the future. Why? Here's the deal, there is a price curve to everything. Very small, really inefficient. Very big, again very inefficient. There is a Goldilocks zone. These things are not in Goldilocks zone. Meaning, you can launch one of these puppy, or you can launch 10 Falcon 9 at the same cost. Here's the 10 Falcon 9 will put far more tonnage in low Earth orbit. If you assemble things in space, like how we know and we have built with ISS, you can build things, and those things will carry far more payload, far more speed, far more everything than one of these puppy. And this puppy is idiotically, exponentially more expensive. And if you divide like how much tonnage this puppy single-handedly can launch versus how many Falcon 9 to low Earth orbit while being reusable, and here's the deal, figure out how many basically Falcon 9 can be launched inside a year. This is at best case scenario, one launch a year. So Falcon 9 is like, bro, we can launch upwards of 60, which we have already done per year. So from a time point of view, from an economics point of view, this does not make sense. This sort of approach will like make it big. It was good for Cold War era. Not anymore. We have to change this strategy. We have to be like far more modular and far more economical. Whereas it's like, okay, big enough, get it to low Earth orbit, attach it to the other things, attach it to propulsion module, whoosh, done. Don't be like, I'm going to send the biggest thing into by the time it goes to the moon, it's a tiny thing. So be it refueling, be it docking, be it creating a propulsion system that can stay in orbit for a very long time without evaporating or things of that nature, those are awesome. But this approach of like sending everything in one go, that's just not gonna fly in the future. From a cost point of view, this just does not work. So everybody figured out already, SLS is already done for. And NASA is slowly taking the away, money from SLS, dumping into Starship, because they know for a fact that it's not gonna go anywhere. So let's see what happens in the future. So this was my presentation on basically SLS future. Hopefully you have liked it, learned from it. In that case, please click the like button, share it amongst your friends. That will help me a lot. If you didn't like it, didn't enjoy it, I urge you to press dislike, press it twice to show me extra disappointment. Please leave a comment because I do try to reply to all of them. Subscribe, press the bell icon if you're free, and as always, thanks for watching.